Hick reporters, welcome back to my channel. Listen, I have been meaning to do this video for a while, but I'm still struggling with figuring out how to even title it because I'm going between, does Kail have some kind of like, I can't even say it. Okay, here, let me just like spell it out. Let's not put a title on it. But one thing that I've noticed about Kail lately, in terms of her content on TikTok, which is where I'm really active. I have my Grace Report TikTok, and I really love that website. But she's constantly putting out videos that really degrade herself and teach her kids to degrade her as well, in addition to themselves. I feel like this behavior, or some of the behavior that she encourages in them, is self-degrading, and I'm not really a big fan of it, but I more so want to show you guys some examples and get your opinions on them, because I think that this is something that for me, I feel like I'm more interested in hearing what you guys have to. I always care more about what you guys have to say about anything than myself. But in this case, I really am wondering if I'm the only one seeing a really weird pattern with her content lately. So there's a lot of it, but for the sake of brevity, I'm only going to show a couple. So let's start off with this one particular video here. So one that you see moving of her with the red sweatshirt, and then you see Lux behind her. So just for some context, what's going to happen when I click through on the video is that there's going to be a rap song playing. There's going to be some swear words. Mind you, this child is 4 or 5 years old. And apparently she's instructed him to use hand signals to mime out some of the words. So the words are basically like, you got to shut up. And that's where he puts his hand over her mouth. And then he says something about getting run up, which I think in street terms means, someone's going to jump you or something like that, maybe bust a cap on you. And then at the end, he gives the middle finger. And again, maybe I'm uptight, maybe, but I just don't understand why you would teach this to your kid, what's cute about it or anything like that. But I digress. Let's play the video and you guys let me know.
If you ain't shot nobody, then shut up. Shut the fuck up. Run from the gun, I get bun up. Reach from that to the sun up. Between. If you ain't shot nobody, then shut up. Shut the fuck up. Run from the gun, I get bun up. Reach from that to the sun up. Between. If you ain't.
Do you see what I mean there? So the lyrics were basically like, if you didn't shoot anybody, then shut up. And then that's where he puts, his hand over her mouth. And I don't know. I feel like those lyrics are a little bit inappropriate. And then, it's one thing to listen to whatever music because they don't get it. Like I was dancing around and getting it to like songs like this or whatnot. Definitely not like this. My parents don't listen to rap or anything like that. Remember, I'm an immigrant, right? My parents were not listening to that type of stuff. But it's okay. Like if that music is playing or you're playing it, because they don't understand what any of that means. But then when you tell them to mime these certain actions that we all know are kind of like, not the greatest things to be doing, like gun signs and middle fingers and stuff like that, I think that's when it kind of goes into like odd territory. I don't really understand why we're going down in this direction, right? And so there we kind of go when it comes to kind of teaching the kids to make themselves look a certain way, present themselves a certain way on the internet that I personally don't think is a positive self-representation, and it is starting to kind of make me a little bit concerned about what it is that she's kind of dealing with. So when it comes to the way that she kind of degrades herself, here she is, joking about the baby daddy situation.
How many talks you done got pop? Whole bunch. How many times you ran from the smoke? Nigga, not one. How many talks you done got pop? Whole bunch. How many times you ran from the smoke? Nigga, not one.
So it's like a little, braggy situation. How many baby daddies do you have? 3, potentially 4. How many are you with? 0, right? Again, not the cutest thing, not the greatest thing, but I don't think it's very egregious, to be honest with you, right? Like that's just another kind of like, this is more of like a silly example. But then when we get into this new trend of parents pushing their kids to swear on the internet for like laughs, which we're going to see in this one video that's got 5-point-something million views with her kids in the background there. That's another thing that I really don't like. I was raised in a very, very, very heavily anti-swearing household. So even at my big old age right now, a sneeze away from 30, I still kind of like wince at people who swear a lot, where I hear a lot of swear words. So this is not even a video that I've watched in its entirety. I'm going to sit through my discomfort to watch it with you guys, just for the purpose of this video. But again, I don't understand it. I really do not understand why, especially because remember, I did a recap, especially if you're a channel member, you probably saw the recap. I believe it was an exclusive for them, but I did a recap of a podcast episode that she did with Joe, the baby daddy for Isaac, where they talked about how the kids Isaac really does not want to be on social media very much. That's why she rarely posts photos with him. And she talks about regretting having put the kids on TV and how they deserve to control their image and they shouldn't be plastered on, shows and whatnot. Meanwhile, here comes something like, let me just tell you this. I'd be pretty upset, to be honest with you, if my parents filmed a video like this with me of me just swearing, aimlessly or whatever, and put it up for giggles. It's not my vibe, you know what I mean? Especially as you evolve as a person and whatnot, to have this kind of representation of you. I don't love it and I don't understand it. So anyway, let's get into it.
Okay, so this is your one and only chance to say any cuss word you want. Who's going first?
Me. Hey?
Yep.
Motherfucker!
You didn't have to put that much energy into it. Lux, are you going to do it?
Okay, bet.
Okay, are you ready, Lux?
Yeah.
Go.
Asshole!
No.
Again.
Okay, so this is your one and only chance to say any cuss word you want. Who's going first?
Me. Hey?
Yep.
Motherfucker!
I really don't like that.
You didn't have to put that much energy into it. Lux, are you going to do it?
Okay, bet.
Okay, are you ready, Lux?
Yeah.
Go.
Asshole!
No.
You see, like that kind of thing. Those are the sorts of things I'm talking about. I really don't understand what the purpose of them are, what positive outcomes they can result in for your kids or whatnot. I just don't get it, to be honest with you. But again, I am mainly just pointing out some things that I'm noticing a pattern of, just kind of like low vibrational content that she unfortunately ropes the kids into, sorry. And I'm kind of curious how you guys feel about it, especially if you are parents yourselves. So, and speaking about Isaac, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but she asks him to go ahead and do the same thing. Isaac is a little bit older than Lincoln, and certainly a lot older than Lux, so he has a different perspective or a different reaction to the question, which again kind of brings up my point earlier, which is that, listen, as you grow and as you evolve, there are certain things that you just do not want to do, you don't want to be represented by, and you don't want to be associated with. So I liked seeing Isaac's reaction contrasted against the other ones, because you really see the difference and why it's so important to protect their images while they're young, because they really do not understand the full extent or represent this full extent to the way that they're kind of presenting themselves. And I say presenting themselves very lightly, because technically they're not, right? They're being pushed to present themselves in a certain way, right? If she's only choosing to upload this sort of content about them, people get these certain ideas about them. So for example, when it comes to that video, before we get into Isaac, this video, the second one that you're seeing over there with 3.7 million views, when I posted that on my Instagram, I really had to moderate a lot of the comments, because a lot of people were kind of calling the kids themselves specifically these certain kinds of names, like they're difficult, or they have these attitude issues, or they're rude, or they're this, or they're that. And it's like, well, no, they're not. They're only being presented as such, unfortunately, right? And that's what makes me really sad. Anyway, let's get into Isaac's reaction, and then you'll see basically kind of what can happen as people evolve and grow, and how they do and don't want to speak, and do and don't want to be represented. Let's take a look.
So yesterday I let all the boys I let Lincoln and Lux do a cuss word. Mm-hmm. And everyone in the comments was asking for you to do it. And I'm giving you the opportunity.
I don't want to.
You don't want to cuss? Mm-hmm. So yesterday I let all the boys I let Lincoln and Lux do a cuss word. Mm-hmm. And everyone in the comments was asking for you to do it. And I'm giving you the opportunity.
I don't want to.
You don't want to cuss?
So there you have it. I don't know if you heard me a little bit earlier, but I said I'd play them all like twice because they're short. They're like 5 seconds. So you sneeze and you miss the moment. And I don't want you guys to go, where can I find that moment? Oh, damn it. I skipped too far back or ahead or whatever. So there you go. Like he's a little bit older, a little bit wiser. So he's decided that he does not want to. But, you know, when you're younger, like the other two, you just say whatever, you do whatever. You're so excited. No impulse control. So you don't even think about these things. You know what I mean? So that was kind of interesting to see. So now here's the video that really kind of like sealed the deal for me and inspired this video because upon watching it when it came out, I believe it was yesterday, my question was basically, why would you put this out there, ask this question, literally anything, like what part of this was a good idea, right? So let's get into it and then discuss it a little bit later, because to me, this one, I feel like you got to see it for yourselves first before we really get into our opinions of it. So here goes.
What do y'all be saying about me behind my back when you're mad?
I say, like, that's why she has 3 baby dads and she puts herself in the car all the time.
Get out. Go. Lux, what do you say about me behind my back?
You need to get your life together.
What?
And when I'm mad, you're pissing me off.
Get out. What do you say about me behind my back? You don't. You be loving your mom.
That's a lie.
What do y'all?
Okay, so this one on the replay, there's just so much content there. So on the replay, let's just do it slowly and steadily, right? So this time in the video, we go back to Kail asking her kids to speak poorly about her. Actually, she doesn't even. That's the thing that's kind of odd to me. It's that all she said is, what do you guys say about me behind my back? And then they really just like launch in, like they really go in and say some really egregious things, in my opinion, right? So Isaac, we saw there, and we're going to play it again, but he basically says, this is why she's got like 3 baby daddies. Now, why is a 12-year-old jumping to that, or a 13-year-old, however old he is? Why is he jumping to that? Like, my mom does not have baby daddies, let me tell you that much. But like, it never has crossed my mind, you know, like it never would have, right? Like, I don't know. Like, wouldn't you think that a normal reaction would be something more like, oh, like, she's so mean, she's so harsh, maybe like this one is her favorite kid, or this one, you know what I mean? Like, just jumping directly to that's why she has 3 baby daddies, to me was a little bit like alarming, to be honest with you. It kind of sounds like basically he's saying, listen, my mom's a hoe. Like, that's what it sounds like to me, right? And I don't understand why she considers it to be funny. Anyway, let's take a look at it.
Y'all be saying about me behind my back?
And let's get into the grammar as well. What do y'all be saying about me behind my back when you're mad? Kail, you know damn well you don't speak like that naturally, Miss Pennsylvania, but I digress.
Back when you're mad.
I say, like, that's why she has 3 baby dads and she poops herself in the car all the time. And she poops herself in the car all the time. Now, what is that? I know, and I talk about this whenever I recap her podcast, but it seems like she and Lindsay in particular seem to have like a scat fetish, because all they like to talk about all the time, and I really don't like listening to that podcast, let me tell you, the Coffee Combos one, they like to talk a lot about how like their bowel movements and like, you know, urination and stuff like that. And I just don't understand why they like to put that kind of, you know, gross information about themselves out there so frequently. I don't understand why she's doing that in her car either. That's very odd to me, but that's a story or a question for another day. So I believe next up was Lux.
Get out. Go. Lux, what do you say about me behind my back?
You need to get your life together.
What?
And when I'm mad, you're pissing me off.
Get out.
So he tells her that what he says about her behind her back is that she needs to get her life together. So let's focus on that first before we get into the pissing me off. So that, you know, when a child is like 4 or 5, is it a joke? Is it sarcasm, or is it real? Because when you look at her life, yeah, anyone would say that, but would a 5-year-old say that? I know that that's something that's being very heavily debated online. So I really do want to know what you guys think of it. I personally think it's just like 5-year-old sass or something like that. But one thing that was really interesting to me was I felt like the comments were harshest towards him, which is really weird because he's the youngest of all of these kids. And what he said is way less harsh than what Isaac said as well. So I do wonder what is kind of lying behind some of those comments that you guys leave about him in particular. But I digress. Anyway, yeah, I think the whole get your life together thing. Yeah, again, another thing where it's like, ugh, I don't know why their natural reaction when they get pissed off at her is not to say that she's mean or she's like, stinky head, or you know what I mean? Like regular reactions. I don't know why it goes to, that's why you've got 3 baby daddies. That's why you crap yourself. That's why you need to get your life together. And then later he says that she's pissing him off, which again, is like a little bit grown up way of saying you make me mad or whatever. But again, just kid speak. And then
what do you say about me behind my back? You don't. You be loving your mom.
And then when it comes to Lincoln, he doesn't say anything, but it's not that he can't think of anything. It's just he's trying to figure out where to start. I probably wondered because remember, Kail and his dad, Javi, they fight a lot. And in one of their last Coffee Combos episodes, Kail went on like a 40-minute long tangent about how they fight in front of him. He tells him to stop. So I think that there's probably a laundry list of stuff that they say about each other in front of him. And there have been other stories that I've covered for sure on the podcast where she talks about how Lincoln has read text messages, vicious, rude text messages from Javi to her, and potentially vice versa as well. Of course, you would not admit in the reverse, right? You have to paint yourself a certain kind of way, but I digress. Anyway, this is another thing where it's like, why is her content leaning this way? Why is it not happy-go-lucky, family fun content? Why is it I'm gonna have my 4 or 5-year-old putting up gun signs, flipping people off to gangster rap music? I'm gonna have my kids swearing at the camera. I'm gonna have them talking crap about me and just being as rude as possible. Like, I don't understand her angle with that. And I am genuinely curious how you guys feel about it. I just don't understand it. I really don't. So please, please, please let me know what you think about it. My personal hypothesis is that Kail has very low self-esteem, right? I think that's something that we can all admit to. And I don't know, it kind of feels like she's teaching her kids not to respect her in a way, or she's just trying so hard to be cool with them in this like kind of like low vibrational world of like gun signs and flipping birds and swearing and whatnot. I don't know what it is, but it is something that I feel like is a little bit alarming, at least slightly alarming. You know what I mean? But I digress. I could potentially just be dramatic, but it's something about it, like seeing these kinds of videos pop up on my screen, especially knowing that she's very well aware. And she talks a lot, like, for example, in the latest Baby Mamas No Dramas episode, she and V talk about, it was Barely Famous. Sorry, too many podcasts. But she and some friend of hers, they talk about how parents put their kids on the internet doing whatever for likes and engagement. So, for example, there was a woman who, for punishment of her daughter, she cut off her daughter's hair and put it on the internet. And then they talked about like how that was awful and this and that, So like, why? Is this the same thing? No, but it's another case of just putting up like kind of trashy content. That's what I would describe it as, trashy content featuring your kids and trying to, get likes and laughs and engagement off kind of their degradation, in my opinion. And I don't love it. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. That is the most important part here, okay? So, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more videos as well. Take care, everybody. Happy holidays. Bye.